Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to PPR for round 18 of the Division 2 World Championship. This week we are headed to Mexico City. We have John leading the field for Williams with 274 points, followed by Ronan driving for Toro Rosso. Third we have Tazonic driving for Mercedes, followed by Mitch 712. Sky Hot Wheels is in 5th, followed by Crim Shack with 87 points. Jules is in 7th place with 82 points, followed by Pogs in 8th. Hockey Hess is in 9th, and White Meat is in 10th, driving for Mercedes. So far this season, John has pulled a pretty massive lead over the rest of our field, almost over 100 points. I think as a result of that, we will be starting from the back of the grid tonight. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us over at YouTube and making the switch from Twitch. Looking forward to a good race tonight as we are all loaded in finally. Under some very poor conditions here in Mexico City. I have a few reserve drivers tonight, most notably in the forms of... Cleanup Whoops driving for Red Bull. As we wait for our drivers to pull out onto the tracks, everybody's adjusting their setups for the wet. As we have Team McLaren heading out first to track. There's another one of those reserve drivers, Hicklin 93, followed by his teammate Slingshot 19. We also have Don't Get Mad driving for Red Bull, as well as PV Magic. And as I was saying before, John has retired from the qualifying session to start from the back of the field. To just give everybody a fair chance, you know? As we're on board, working our way through the end of Sector 1 now. First sector of this track is very angular, a lot of 90-degree and acute angle turns. Then as we work our way into Sector 2 through the S's, things move a lot quicker here as Hicklin's trying to allow his teammate to pass. His teammate doesn't really want to pass, so they're both going to have a little... slowdown match here and see who can hold up the field the most, as Hicklin has started to go finally. Pull up all of our telemetry and tire data. As these two are about to start their first hot lap of the day, we already see Slingshot contending with a whole lot of oversteer coming for the rear of that McLaren. Hop on board with his teammate of Hicklin 93 as he rounds the final corner onto the oval track here in Mexico. They have a half-mile oval circuit as Hicklin opens up DRS and charges down the front straight. It's got a little bit of traffic to deal with coming out of the pits. Take a look and see who that is as we're coming into the first braking zone in Sector 1. Sprightly pulls well out of the way as Hicklin teases it in. Ronan also wisely pulls out of the way as Hicklin proceeds uninterrupted. So far the lap is looking okay. Conditions making things very difficult for our drivers out there today. Of course, with this being Division 2, they will have the assistance of medium traction control as well as ABS if they opt to do so. As Hicklin now enters the S's, we have a double yellow in Sector 2. Gonna make sure his teammate is still okay, which it looks like he is. Not sure who that's gonna be for. Oh, looks like Sergeant Martin driving for Haas has lost it on entry to the S's. Very tricky section of track to get right in the dry, much less in the wet, as we now enter the stadium section, which holds the Race of Champions annually, a very cool and quirky little event. You should definitely look it up if you haven't done so. As we see Pogs parking his Williams on the entry to pit lane, one of the worst places you can choose to park it on this track, as Hicklin turns in the first time of the day with a 129.4. His teammate Slingshot 19 about 2 seconds behind his pace. Also have Sky Hot Wheels trying to work his way around the reserve driver cleanup Whoops in the Red Bull. Both these drivers entering Sector 2 now. Working our way through turn 7 as Sky's still following cleanup right through. As there's a whole lot of traffic out on the track at the moment, which is why we're seeing so many cautions being thrown. Looks like Sky is being held up a bit at this point, trying to make a move on cleanup around the outside of the exit of the stadium section. Well executed by Sky Hot Wheels. He'll be shaking his head in frustration a bit as he'll try for one more hot lap here. Not a lot of ERS left, but he's going to keep it in. Nah, he's backing out. Very respectable 127.9, just behind the 127.4 of Toft of White Meat. Oof, as we see Buttersocks 16 losing it coming through the S's. Driving Ferrari lost the front left end plate there of his wing. He's going to have to come back to the pits for a fresh bit of carbon fiber, as we also see Praven having a bit of trouble trying to figure out what section of track he's at. Again, looks like midway through Sector 2 on entry to the S's. All of our drivers really seem to be struggling for grip out there today. See how our man Jules is doing down here, driving for Haas, working his way into DRS Zone 1. Now heavy on the brakes just at the 100-meter board. Kisses the left apex there nicely. Misses the right one by just a bit. So far looking noticeably smoother than any of our other drivers we've been with thus far today. See how he handles the S's, which has been the source of so many difficulties as the rain continues to fall. Jules runs it very wide on exit there. Old man Jules almost forgot when the race started tonight, as he also forgot where the track limits are, as he's just gonna skedoodle his way back around, take a big bite out of that sausage on the last turn, and come back into the pits to, I don't even know what he's doing, man, as we are on board with the Toro Rosso of Ronin. Still yet to set a time today, but so far with the 109 coming out of Sector 2, looking very competitive. Unfortunately, runs it really wide there. It's probably going to invalidate this lap. Stay on board with him, though, just to see how he negotiates this last turn. Very easy to lose the rear end of the car there. He's going to be pulling back into the pits as we have Pogs and Buttersocks pulling back out onto the track as Mitch is trying to find some space on the track to set up a hot lap, as we have Sprightly negotiating his way around the last bend. Still in ERS mode 4, giving it everything he's got. Charges towards the line with a 128.8, puts him into P6 for now, just over 10 minutes in qualifying remaining. Also have Sergeant Martin driving for Haas, so I'm having a little bit of trouble earlier. He's taking another attempt at a hot lap, working his way through ERS Zone 1. Actually, rather, excuse me, that was the front straight. Working our way through turn 3 and 4 now. Now into DRS Zone 1 as we have double yellow in Sector 1 and 2. Thankfully quickly went away, so hopefully it was just somebody slowing down, as Sergeant Martin struggles to get his Haas slowed down for turn 4, as that's going to blow his latest attempt at a hot lap, unfortunately. So we have Mitch driving for Alfa Romeo coming through the same section of track we just saw Sergeant Martin lose it on. Hopefully Mitch makes it through here without the same issues. drifting a bit between turns there and a whole lot on exit as we're now rounding turn 6. I think we have the racing point of DeCoach just teasing in the edge of the frame there. Mitch with a 105 sector 2 time, looking very strong so far. Now through the slowest section of the track through the stadium. And back onto the oval once more. As Mitch climbs through the gears, he's going to cross the line with a 128.5, puts him into the top 5 for now. Looks like DeCoach crossed the line with a 129.7. Have Hicklin 93 taking another stab at it. Looks to be using a controller, twitching about. As that looks to be Tazonic in the wall on exit of the stadium section. Thankfully got that turned around without getting into anybody, and he's going to be coming back into the pits. Sergeant Martin taking another stab at things, working his way through the stadium section as well. Takes a big bite of the hairpin and pays the price for it. Whole lot of oversteer there. It's going to kill his lap as well. Looks like Buttersocks just crossed the line, unfortunately did not improve. Sergeant Martin did improve to a 130.8, still outside of points range though. I have DeCoach working through a lot of traffic right now. I think Sky is on a hot lap, I believe. Exiting the final turn now. Sky's going to cross the line with a 127.6, improves but not enough to pass UFR DGM or Money Hustard. And certainly not to take White Meat off the top of this leaderboard. Buttersocks absolutely hooning it through the S's. Parking it on the racing line, luckily gets out of the way just in time. That was a close one. As Slingshot has 100% battery, but looks to be taking another lap to warm up his tires and burn off a little more fuel. Sonic is back out onto the track, just over 5 minutes left in quali. White Meat sitting in the pits, staying dry. As Ronan's working his way around turn 3. Now he was coming out of 6 there, rather, working his way through 7, 8, and 9 right now. Ronan handling those S's beautifully. So far he has a 128.8, put in a sector 2 time of a 107, 2 seconds up on his previous best already. As we have a great spot for Pirelli there, as the Toro Rosso will cross the line with a 127.7. That's enough to push Ronan up into 5th. Great lap from him. Take a quick look at Pogs, see how he's doing. Hopefully not losing it in the last sector once more. As Pogs crossed the line with a 129.8, he's going to move up into 12th spot. Craven and Tizonic still yet to set a lap. Craven coming up on a lot of traffic now. Jules exiting the pits. As we see Tizonic rejoining the track, I can only assume that that lap has been invalidated. Go back on board with Craven. He's coming up behind Facitas. Sounds like a spicy food that they would be serving right trackside here today. As Ronan puts in another hot lap after already putting in a hot lap, and he takes pole position with a 126.9. Apologies for not watching him. I assumed incorrectly that he wouldn't have anything left in the tank, as we have, I think that was DeCoach, had lost it on entry into the stadium. Not quite sure what happened there, as luckily Craven was able to work his way through without an issue. As we have a whole lot of traffic coming out onto the track now. White Meat is coming back out to take one more lap. We also have Money Hustard working his way through DRS Zone 1 right now. DGM is about to enter the stadium. We'll stay on board with him quickly driving for Red Bull. We have a Sector 3. Actually, we have yellow flags everywhere. Just drive really slow, as DGM seems to be doing. So we will go back on board with Money Hustard. As he took a really close line on the inside there, and I really don't think that's going to be a valid lap. As Ronan's pulling back into the pits, he's given everything he's got. White Meat's going to be starting his last hot lap of the day. DRS mode 4 already burned off over 20% of his battery. As we're just going to have a quick look through the field as not sure, we had a few drivers in the wall there, as we will work our way back to White Meat. Already closing the gap to Tizonic just ahead of him. Gets it turned in well for turn 4. Again, hits all his marks through the hairpin there in Sector 2, now into the S's. As Craven's worked his way up into 5th, just ahead of his teammate Sky Hot Wheels. Jules has retired from the session. As unfortunately White Meat loses it there through the exit of the final S. And that will do it for his final hot lap of the day. DGM's still giving it, I was going to say one more shot, doesn't look like it though. PPR Grandpa is going for it though, aka Sprightly. As Hockey Hess has retired from the session as well. His 128.9 is unfortunately going to be all he's got to go with for the start of this Grand Prix in just a few moments. As we see his wounded Toro Rosso there, we also have Hicklin 93 retiring. Sprightly looking very good so far, doing a lot better than Buttersocks and White Meat, as well as Slingshot. Sprightly now charging towards the S's. Lift and a downshift for the first one, then quick back to the power. Still have DeCoach, Mitch, and Pogs on the track as qualifying time has elapsed here in Mexico City. Sprightly very late to react to the last S there, does the same thing as White Meat, and unfortunately that will be it for his final hot lap attempt. As we will go down to Pogs is dead, Buttersocks is drunk, Sergeant Martin is napping, and Sprightly has no more front wing. DGM, I think, is the last one going for it now, entering the stadium section. Does well to stay within track limits there. Locks up his front right just a bit. Now through the final hairpin, just 2 corners to go. Very weird exit here. Under the Emirates Bridge. Past the pit exit. Or rather, he's just going to be coming back to the pits. As that should do it for qualifying here from your friends at PPR. Butter Socks has some butter shoes on tonight. Flopping all over his pedals. We are waiting for... Not quite sure. But in just a few moments, we will have the start of this race for you all. We have Jules the Weatherman coming in, giving me details on the race, but we will quickly give you guys a reminder of the point standings going into the 18th round of PPR Division 2. If you guys are interested in joining the league, follow the link in the description, as Ronan's going to be starting off pole position, followed by White Meat, Money Hustard, and DGM, as well as Praven, rounding out your top 5. Overall, going into this race, John's leading, followed by Ronan, Tizanic, Mitch, and Sky Hot Wheels, rounding out your top 5 overall. So, Sky and Jules definitely has a bit of work to do, but I think the most work that has to be done is John starting from last, driving for Williams. Obviously going to keep our eyes on him throughout the day, see what he can bring to this race. As we wait for our drivers to load in and set all their strategies for the day, here's a look at the PPR weekly schedule. Also, to all our viewers, do stick around for our Division 1 Grand Prix, which is going to be kicking off at 9 o'clock right after the conclusion of this race. Very close points battle in that division, so it's sure to be a good one, as it looks like we once again have the most excellent intro music going on here. Apologies for that, but we're going to have a spicy formation lap here in Mexico City for you all. As Ronan is going to lead us around one more time before we go lights out. Absolutely charging away from the start-finish line. Into DRS zone 1 now. The exit of turn 3. Great passing opportunity between these two corners as we now work our way towards turn 6 and the end of sector 1. Now working our way through turns 7 through 11. Very difficult to go too wide here, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot of drivers going for it. As Ronan takes his starting position, we're just moments away from lights out. Drivers adjust their seating positions. Eyes on the lights. We're gonna go on board with Money Hustard has the view. As we already have green flags waving from some clueless marshal down there on a car. As we will go back to Money Hustard for the view. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lights out and away we go with PPR. We are racing. So far we have Tazonic making an early move up the inside. Money Hustard's made it 3 wide going towards turn 1. He's already taken the lead of this race. Rest of our drivers scrambling for position in the background. Money Hustard leads going into turn 1. The rest of the drivers follow suit. Everybody's still going 2 wide. Facita's making it 3 wide there through turn 3. Still all these drivers seeming to keep it together so far. As we work back up through the field, Praven and Tazonic are battling for P6. Have double caution as we're going to work our way through the field, see what happened. It looks like Williams and Red Bull might have gotten in trouble. John John's already worked his way up into 17th position. Now sets his sights on the racing point of DeCoach. DeCoach gets well out of the way there, and he's already up into 16th. Sprightly and Buttersocks are battling through the S's, going side by side. Buttersocks going very wide on exit there. Has ultimately gained the position up into 13th. Now John John right on their tails, though. Back up in first place, though, Money Hustard is being pressured by Ronan. Going towards turn 1 now. Ronan well within the draft of the Alfa Romeo now. Money Hustard moving back to the left side of the track to initiate for turn 1. All our drivers going single file so far. Ronan can't do anything as of yet. He's going to have to wait another lap for the help of DRS to make a pass happen. Basita's just 3/10 off the pace of Jules at this point. Hicklin and DeCoach are pulling into the pits to repair some damage sustained first lap. Unfortunately, John John's making a move on his teammate Pogs. Pogs defending hard. John John, not a lot of room to move. He's going to struggle to get that car slowed down. Thankfully, he does, as he's going to be very frustrated with his teammate there. Pogs running it very wide on the exit of 5. John John should, unfortunately, Pogs got a good run there. I was going to say be able to set something up into the S's. It's very difficult to pass through there. We're going to work our way back up through the field. Jules still leads Facitas. Praven, though, pressuring Tazonic for 6th place. DGM also pressuring White Meat. John John and Pogs battling through the stadium section. John John ultimately came out on top. Sergeant Martin also looking to make a move on Pogs as well. Pogs defends to the inside fiercely as we have PPR Grandpa pulling into the pits. John John's going to pick up another position just from that. Ronan's still unable to make a move on Money Hustard yet. Mitch putting the pressure on Facitas for 10th and points contention as Sergeant Martin's looking at the inside of Pogs going into turn 1. Pogs says no, goes back around the outside, then cuts across the exit of turn 3. As John John now has his sights on Buttersocks 16. Sergeant Martin continues to chase Pogs, who's chased closely behind by Cleanup Whoops. And take a quick look at the Alfa Romeo of Mitch 712. Unfortunately, cutting a whole lot of the track there. Marshall's going to be giving him a warning for that. Penalties are certainly going to be a factor by the end of this Grand Prix, as Mexico is pretty notorious for very strict limits. As DRS is now enabled, Ronan closes the gap slowly to Money Hustard. Takes a quick peek at the inside to turn 1 just to let him know he's there. Money Hustard so far driving brilliantly today, just less than a second separating these three competitors. As we have Jules making a move on Hockey Hess. Hockey Hess defends to the inside line. Jules stays within the draft. As Facitas is the first to pick up a time penalty in the form of a 3-second track-cutting reprimand. As Jules will follow Hockey Hess through the S's. Craven is looking to find a way around Tazonic. Unfortunately, the Renault driver goes very wide there on the entry to the stadium section, but now has worked his way right back up to the rear diffuser of the Mercedes. Money Hustard fires in another fastest lap of the race as Craven got a pretty bad run out of the final turn. Ronan still within DRS range of Money Hustard, but unable to do anything with it yet. Looks like Craven Magic is trying to make something happen, though, and unfortunately got a little bit too excited and slammed into the back of Tazonic. Thankfully, Tazonic was able to recover, but unfortunately got a 10-second time penalty, which will be overturned by the stewards should he submit evidence of that. As Mitch's Facitas, rather, is looking to make a move on Hockey Hess going into turn 4. White Meat picks up a 3-second time penalty as Facitas is up into 9th place. Oof, sorry, as our resolution tanks there for a moment. As John is now within a half-second of the pace of Mitch. 712 Pogs is going to pick up a 3-second time penalty, as well as Sergeant Martin. Mitch defends the inside, approaching the stadium, forces John the long way around. John looks like he's going to get it done. Mitch fires back, and John says no. Yellow in Sector 3 as Sergeant Martin has lost it in the exit of the stadium. Yeah, approaching the final turn. Fortunately, we saw a few issues there earlier in qualifying. As Jules has been passed by Facitas, looks like he gave him a little bit of a bump there back as he went around, but Facitas is up into 8th. Craven Magic also passed Tazonic on entry to turn 4. Looks like we have DGM trying to find his way around White Meat. White Meat goes very wide on the exit of 8. John picks up a 3-second time penalty for pushing track limits, as we just saw on the exit of the stadium section. DGM is up into 4th around the outside of White Meat into the S's. Well done by Red Bull. Also have Craven passing White Meat. White Meat in a whole lot of trouble. Sky Hot Wheels also picks up a 3-second time penalty for cutting corners. Tazonic up into 6th place, just ahead of his teammate. John now puts the pressure on the Toro Rosso of Hockey Hess. Caution in Sector 2. Not quite sure who that is for. We'll go back on board the Williams of John. Actually, we're going to take a quick look at Sky Hot Wheels, sending it up the inside of Ronan. Unfortunately, contact with his side pod sent Sky Hot Wheels into an uncontrollable slide and forced Ronan wide. Ronan picked up a 3-second time penalty as a result. And unfortunately missed John's pass on Hockey Hess for P10. John into the points. As Pogs pulls into the pits to repair some damage, we're going to hop on board with Facitas, who's putting the pressure on Jules. Can't make anything happen yet. We also have Tazonic chasing his teammate White Meat. Facitas getting very aggressive with track limits there. As Hockey Hess picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. PPR Grandpa picks up a spot and is up into 18th. As White Meat, still struggling for grip, is passed by his teammate Tazonic. Facitas now right on the rear end of Jules. Looks to the inside, approaching the stadium. Cannot get it done yet. Jules still in 8th place. All this battling has allowed the Williams of John to close the gap. And there we see Facitas picking up another 3-second time penalty as Jules tries to break the draft. Both drivers in the rear will have the assistance of DRS. Praven is trying to make something happen on DGM. Ultimately defends, but picks up a 3-second time penalty as Facitas passes Jules. Jules in the middle of a three-way scrap. Wheel to wheel with John on exit of 3. John ultimately picks up the position and goes up into 9th place. Jules looks to fire back. Can't close the deal yet. As DGM picks up a 3-second time penalty, Pogs does as well. John and Jules will have the assistance of DRS as we charge down the start-finish straight once more. Jules falling off a bit in terms of pace compared to John who's closing the gap on MC Facitas? We're gonna go with that rather than Mick Facitas. Unless he's Irish-Spanish, I don't know. John picks up P8 on entry to turn 1. Jules also finds a way around. Even if it is outside of track limits, he is up into P9. As I think he and Facitas are going to continue to trade blows throughout this Grand Prix. Seems their pace is very close, as DGM and Praven are also very similarly paced today. As we see Praven just ahead, struggling a little bit on exit of the S's there. Sky Hot Wheels is the first of the leaders to pit, as his teammate Praven will work his way up into 3rd, still followed closely behind by DGM, who's going to have the assistance of DRS this lap. Take a quick look at the racing point of DeCoach battling with Hicklin's 93 for 16th place coming out of the stadium section. Now DeCoach looks to be dealing with a lot of oversteer, not a lot of grip left in those soft tires at this point. As Facitas and Jules continue to battle, working our way around turn 6 now. As White Meats lost it in the exit of the S, is the same spot as he was having trouble before. And unfortunately, that will be the end of the race for that Mercedes. DeCoach picks up a 3-second time penalty for Racing Point. And Facitas continues to apply the pressure to Jules. Thought he was going to come to the pits, but he continues to stay out, tucks behind the draft, engages DRS. Looks to the inside, nothing Jules can do about it, as we have a double caution in Sector 2. Not quite sure who that was for, but Pogs is working on DeCoach. And Williams is up into 17th. Here we have the Haas of Sergeant Martin 705 closing quickly on Slingshot 19. Slingshot 19 does not defend. Sergeant Martin's right alongside going into turn 1. Looks like Sergeant Martin is up into 11th position as Hockey Hess now sets his sights on Slingshot as well. Hockey's going to have the assistance of DRS? Possibly not. Okay. As it looks like Facitas lost it, unfortunately, coming into the S's. As Money Hustard and Ronan are going to be pulling into the pits. Go back on board with Hockey Hess continuing to chase down Slingshot 19. Slingshot 19 unfortunately running very wide there. As we have another double caution in Sector 2, it looks like Mitch 712 was having a bit of trouble there. He's going to rejoin the track in 11th position under pressure by both Slingshot as well as Hockey Hess. Slingshot forced a little bit wide there. Hockey Hess is going to be up into 12th for now. Buttersocks as well is in this party. Have a 5-way battle for P10 at the moment. See if anybody's pulling into the pits or if we're going to continue to scrap for another lap. Looks like we are. Sergeant Martin is pulling into the pits, but Mitch and Hockey Hess as well as Buttersocks continue to stay out. DGM within 0.6 of Craven's pace, as well as Money Hustard very close behind Jules. Hockey Hess takes a look at the inside of Mitch, knows he can't get anything done yet. Buttersocks as well just follows suit. As Jules has been passed by Money Hustard, Sky Hot Wheels now tries to find a way around the struggling Haas. No real grip left in Jules' tires compared to Sky at this point as Sky works his way back up into 5th position. Craven's going to be pulling into the pits for some fresh rubber as well. Buttersocks is past Hockey Hess on the exit of 6. Sprightly picks up a 3-second time penalty. Also have Craven and Jules finally pitting as well. DeCoach picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. Slingshot picks up a penalty as Facitas is trying to work his way back up through the grid after that big mistake a couple laps ago. The help of DRS, he's going to work his way back up into 12th past the McLaren of Hicklin 93. As we see Hockey Hess trying to find his way around Buttersocks 16 on entry to turn 1, unfortunately cannot get it done. Going to fall a couple more spots before ultimately rejoining the track just ahead of Sprightly. John picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Presumably that's really going to hurt his finishing time later in the race as Money Hustard puts in another fastest lap of the day. DGM also pits for fresh rubber as well. We'll take a quick look at total position changes. John is up 13 spots from his starting spot. Buttersocks also up 8 spots. Sky Hot Wheels up 5. As all of our drivers have now completed one stop for the day. Take a quick look at the tire compounds as Facitas punches in a fastest lap of the day. Sprightly unfortunately just outside of DRS range of Hockey Hess. Hogs there just in the back of the frame behind Sprightly. Trying everything he can to work his way up into the points contention. As Mitch picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. As we're not even at the halfway point of the race and already probably close to a minute total of penalty points as Facitas is now trying to find a way around his teammate Buttersocks 16. Both drivers handling their Ferrari as well there through the S's. Sergeant Martin picks up a 3-second time penalty. And Pogs is within a half-second of Sprightly. We're going to take a quick look at that after Facitas works his way up the inside of Buttersock 16 for P11. He should also have the assistance of DRS to help extend that gap, as Buttersocks is giving him absolutely no room. In true Ferrari fashion, they're going wheel to wheel into turn 1, continuing to do so around 2 and 3, but ultimately Facitas pulls off the pass and moves up into P10 in brilliant fashion. Great piece of driving there, as we'll take a quick look at Pogs, still about a half-second off the pace of PPR Sprightly. Pogs unfortunately goes a little bit too deep, kills his line on exit, as Sky Hot Wheels is coming back into the pits already. Not sure what happened there, if he maybe touched the wall a little bit or something there, as take a quick look at John looking to put the moves on UFR DGM, as he also puts in the fastest lap of the day, day 1:17.1. John makes the pass stick and is up into 5th place. DGM simply follows his line through turn 1, as we will hop back down on board with Pogs. Still about a half-second off the pace of PPR Sprightly, but well within the draft as he engages DRS. Looks to the inside of Sprightly, and Pogs moves up into 14th without much that the Racing Point can do. As John picks up another 3-second time penalty, Pogs does as well. Craven Magic has closed the gap to Ronan just a bit, but unfortunately still just outside of DRS engagement range. Money Hustard continues to lead, followed by Ronan, followed by Praven. So we have double caution in Sector 2. Looks like Hicklin 93 has lost it on entry to the S's. Drifts back onto track and gets his McLaren sorted. As Pog's still chasing now Hockey Hess for P12. Did I miss Tekocha's retirement? I must have. Apologies if I did, as it looks like Cleanup Whoops has left the game. Craven's going to be trying to find a way around Ronan. Engages DRS and is closing quickly. Ronan defends to the inside, but Praven swings it through. We also have... Oh, rather, there's Cleanup Whoops in the background as Hockey Hess picks up a 3-second time penalty. Sprightly will pass the aforementioned Toro Rosso and move up into 13th place. Looks like Hockey was having a little bit of trouble there on the exit of 6. Facitas now once again battling with Jules, now for P9. Hicklin 93 picks up a 3-second time penalty for pushing track limits. Jules defends the inside line. Facitas forced to go the long way around. Seals the deal and moves up into P9. Jules already fallen about 2 seconds off the pace of Facitas. Will hop on board now with John 11, who set his sights upon the Mercedes of Tasonic. John absolutely impatient, tries to get the pass done before the exit of the final corner. Unfortunately, has pretty much ended Tasonic's hopes at a podium for the day, as Tasonic ultimately got his Mercedes turned around and will come into the pits for a fresh wing. Puts John up into P4, but our stewards rather, might have something to say about that post-race. As Money Hustard has pulled a 5-second lead as we're over halfway through this Grand Prix. Pogs works his way into 11th as Tasonic rejoins the track, unfortunately all the way down in 12th place. Toto Wolff bangs his desk in frustration as Tasonic puts his head down and just looks to turn in some clean laps now. It's a nice spoiler, Cody's. Thanks. As Tasonic sets his sights on the Williams of Pogs. Xbox is killing me with the encoding tonight. And it's very high, I bet. We also have Hockey Hess catching up to the racing point of PPR Sprightly for 13th place. We're going to stay on board with Tasonic right now as he's closing quickly to the Williams of Pogs. Mitch 712s pulls into the pits to get some fresh tires, it looks like. Tasonic now going to be well within DRS range of Pogs. Craven unfortunately picks up a 3-second time penalty for pushing track limits once more. Tasonic works his way around the inside of Pogs and is up into P10, into the points. A little touch of a lockup from the Mercedes as he speeds away from Pogs. We take a look at Hockey Hess trying to find his way around the racing point of PPR Sprightly. Ooh, this Hockey Hess unfortunately thunderfoots it a bit coming out of turn 4. Loses the rear end and a whole lot of time compared to Sprightly. We have Hicklin 93 working on his teammate Slingshot 19 for 16th place going into turn 4 right now. As it looks like Pogs lost it on exit of the S's where we saw White Meat lose it earlier. As Hicklin seals the deal up into 16th place without any issue. Pogs picks up a 5-second penalty this time for speeding on entry to pit lane and retires from the session. In frustration, now on board with the Haas of Sergeant Martin, just a second off the pace of Hockey Hess for 12th place. A caution in Sector 3. ¿Por qué? And caution is cleared. As a bit of time now begins to separate our competitors. We'll quickly hide the UI and go on board the Haas of Sergeant Martin for a lap around Mexican Grand Prix as Mitch picks up another 3-second time penalty. Sergeant Martin with a great line out of the stadium section. Unfortunately, a little slow to get back on the throttle. But it was enough to push him to within range of DRS. Now just within 0.2 of the pace of Hockey Hess. Almost lost it a little bit there, just trying to avoid the rear end as Ronan picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane, as both him and Money Hustard are pitting. Makes Praven Magic your new race leader as Sergeant Martin gets too heavy on the brakes and unfortunately loses the rear end on entry to 4. It's going to lose a whole lot of time compared to Hockey Hess, as Ronan's going to be pulling back out onto the track just ahead of Sky Hot Wheels. Sky carrying a lot of speed into turn 1 as Hockey Hess picks up another 3-second time penalty as well. Hicklin does also. As for some reason there, Sky did not get the help of DRS, even though he is well within a second of Ronan's pace. As we have just 13 laps to go, we'll take one more look at the tire information. Money Hustard set up pretty well to finish this race P1 as long as he keeps it together. PPR Sprightly picks up another penalty as Praven pulls into the pits. Buttersocks picks up a 3-second time penalty. I feel like that's about all I'm saying, as Praven's going to be exiting the pits just ahead of Ronan and Sky, it looks like. They'll be passing right now. We also have the Ferrari of MC Facitas pulling into the pits for his final tire change of the day. We'll rejoin the track with plenty of room as Mitch is trying to close the gap to Tazanic. Cleanup picks up another penalty as well. Buttersocks moves up into P16 as Sergeant Martin's pulling into the pits. As Mitch engages DRS, he's going to close the distance to Tazanic. Trying to work his way up into 8th place. Tazanic defends to the inside. Sprightly picks up a speeding penalty in the pit lane as Mitch works his way up into P8. Tazanic fighting back though, trying to go wheel to wheel, approaching turn 4. Can't make it stick though, as Mitch still has the help of DRS. In probably the worst DRS detection zone in the calendar. Mitch runs very wide on exit there of 5 rather. As we have Sprightly and Hockey in the pits. We also have John pulling into the pits for his last stop of the day as well. Just see what he could do in these last 10 laps as Tazanic and Mitch continue to battle, working our way through the S's. Take a quick look at John's going to be coming back out onto track without any traffic to speak of. Tezanik trying to stay within a second of Mitch's pace onto the DRS detection zone. And he does. Crossing the start finish now, working our way onto the 26th lap of the Mexican Grand Prix. Mitch defends the inside line very early. Tezanik picks up a penalty for cutting the entry of turn 1 there. Flicks left to correct his oversteer and engages DRS in zone 1. Gets on the brakes nice and early. We're going to take a quick look at Praven Magic trying to find his way around UFR DGM. Working our way back onto the oval and towards the start-finish line. DGM defends the inside line. Craven stays on the ideal line and works his way up into P2. Sergeant Martin picks up a penalty, and we will hop back on board with Tezanik still continuing to battle Mitch for P8. Sky Hot Wheels picks up a penalty as well. As Tezanik engages DRS and switches to attack mode. Mitch so far without any defensive moves. Tezanik tries to get him to twitch, but Mitch holds true. Mitch with a fairly bad exit of turn 3 there, allowing Tezanik to continue to close the gap. As John's going to be looking to make his way around the somewhat laggy Renault of Sky Hot Wheels. And he does as he works his way up into P5 into the stadium section. John so far had a great drive today. Other than that bit of an incident as Jules picks up a 3-second time penalty. John puts in the fastest lap of the race thus far with a 1:16.9. First of our drivers into the 16s today as Praven picks up a 3-second time penalty. We have Tezanik, Fasitas, and Mitch battling for P7, working our way onto the 28th lap. Tezanik and Fasitas with a great exit. Fasitas with a run on the Mercedes before he even engages DRS. Positions himself to the inside of Tezanik much later on the brakes, and Fasitas is back up into 8th place. The McLaren of Hicklin 93 pulls into the pits for the last time today. Fasitas is now closing quickly to the Alpha of Mitch. As both those drivers pick up a penalty there, I don't know how Fasitas didn't just blow up his Ferrari. Listening to that engine scream on those downshifts. Sky Hot Wheels is pulling into the pits for the last time as well, as Fasitas is going to be putting the pressure on Mitch this lap now. Mitch defending it early as we see Sky exiting the pits there. Mitch dancing about the track just a bit. Fasitas positions his car on the inside approaching turn 1. Going wheel to wheel still. Mitch just ahead of the Ferrari, holds the position very well as Sky exits right in the middle of this scrap. DGM picks up a 3-second time penalty. As we're going to hop on board the Ferrari once more, trying to go up the inside of Mitch. Cuts the track very badly. Mitch takes off the inside line and forces Fasitas to stay behind going into the S's. Just 6 laps to go to the conclusion of this Grand Prix. Money Hustard continues to lead with about a 6-second interval between him and Praven. Right now, all the action is between Mitch, Facitas, and Sky. Tazonic also lurking in the mirrors, ready to pounce in case any of these drivers makes a mistake or gets involved with another. We have Facitas trying to set up an over-under on Mitch going into the last turn. He almost got it done, but Mitch shut the door on him. Sky Hot Wheels have a great run on the Ferrari. Both these drivers engage DRS. Sky looks to the inside. There's not much Facitas can do. He tries to make room for him as well. Sky tries to position his car to the outside of Mitch. Mitch doesn't know what's going on. Almost got sandwiched there. As Sky works his way back around Facitas, Mitch runs very wide on exit. Now Tazonic joins the party from the back. Cody's pleased. There we go. Back on board now. Facitas continues to apply the pressure to Mitch. A little bit of a bang there between Facitas and Sky as Tazonic now is trying to work his way around the Ferrari as well. Sky's up into 7th place. Mitch has a little bit of breathing room for the moment. So we have a double yellow in Sector 3. Looks like it might be Sergeant Martin, unfortunately. Unless it's Ronan? No, as Ronan was just passed by John going down the front straight with the help of DRS. Mitch and Sky are going wheel to wheel going into the stadium section. Mitch continuing to hold P6 from the relentless attacks of Renault and Ferrari. Now Sky's going to have a great run coming out of this final turn. Mitch runs a little wide there. Hop on board the Ferrari of Facitas as we see Sky establish position on the inside of Mitch. As Tazonic not going to make anything happen yet. Still 5 laps to go as we see Facitas continuing to gain penalties. It's got to be close to a DQ at this point. As Facitas goes up the inside of Mitch, they bang wheels. Facitas almost forces Mitch out of the way, moves back up into P8. Tazonic now trying to find his way around the struggling Alpha. These guys are going to be wheel to wheel going into the first S unless one of them yields, and it is Tazonic. As we're going to take a look at the Williams of John. DGM defending to the inside going towards turn 1. John works his way up into P3 with the help of DRS, followed closely behind by the Toro Rosso of Ronan. Tazonic picks up a 3-second time penalty for trying to find his way around Mitch in a creative fashion. Now exiting the stadium section once more, Mitch continuing to ignore track limits. So we have double cautions in Sector 1 and 2. Unfortunately, it looked like Ronan had a big moment there as he passes somebody having an even bigger moment. Might have been DGM he got connected with? No, he didn't lose enough time, as I'm very confused. Tazonic's trying to find his way around Mitch. I think Hockey Hess may have been the suspect I was looking for in that whole debacle, as Tazonic tries to find his way around Mitch. Cannot get it done. What is going on over here? I don't know, but Hockey Hess is struggling. Grandpa's trying to make her move around Buttersocks. Buttersocks is defending to the inside. Back to the outside in true Ferrari fashion. Sprightly very late on the brakes. Up into 11th place. In dramatic fashion. Tazonic continuing to chase down the Alpha of Mitch. Tazonic unfortunately loses the front end of his car. Gets forced very wide with understeer. Take a quick look at tire data once more, see what we're working with here. 13 lap old hards shouldn't be too bad compared to... I'm going to stop talking, I don't know enough about F1. As Tazonic's now 3/10 off the pace of Mitch, engages DRS once more. Just 3 laps to go to the conclusion of this Grand Prix. Tazonic's looking at the inside of Mitch, gets it done before the braking zone. Tazonic's up into P8. Double caution in Sector 3. Still, where? Where's the caution? Donde. As Money Hustard continues to lead. John now within 2 seconds of Craven Magic. Now a caution in Sector 1. Cody's is just messing with me at this point. Mitch just half a second off Tizonic's pace going into the S's, as we'll continue to search for the mystery caution and continue to be confounded. John now just over a second off the pace of Craven. Almost within DRS range as Jules picks up a 3-second time penalty for cutting track limits. We take a quick look at Mitch. Just half a second off the pace of Tizonic. Still going to have the help of DRS going down the start-finish line once more. Tizonic also has the help of DRS closing slowly on the Ferrari of Facitas, who's worked his way up into 7th place. Tizonic trying to work his way back up through the field after that unfortunate incident with John earlier. Just about a second separates 7th through 9th place at the moment as Mitch really struggles to get that Alpha slowed down to avoid the heavily braking Tizonic, as we see Tizonic braking very early again there too as Mitch gets into the rear end of him. As John is now within a second of the pace of Craven Magic. Cetus is going to pick up another 3-second time penalty. John can't get it done yet, but we'll have the help of DRS once more in DRS Zone 1 coming up right now as Mitch picks up a 3-second time penalty as he continues to chase down Tizonic for P8. Craven just has to keep it together for 2 laps and hold off the relentless attack of Williams. Claire Williams back in the garage, tightly grips her bar stool, inching closer to the TV as Craven seems to be ripping through the S's. The tune on that Renault looks to be very planted. As Tizonic and Mitch are continuing to battle, we're going to stay on board with John 11. He's going to be trying to set something up going on to the final lap here in Mexico City. This has been our Division 2 drivers presented by your friends at Pole Position Racing. John's going to engage DRM, look to the inside of Craven approaching turn 1. Still wheel to wheel in the braking zone. Craven not giving up yet. Wheel to wheel on exit. John should have the help of DRS once more. He does. But so does Craven because Mexico has both these drivers now heavy on the brakes for turn 4. Just 0.3 separates them. John desperately trying to find a way around the Renault. Craven doing everything he can to keep the Williams in his rear view mirror. Tizonic just a 1/10 of a second off the pace of Facitas, also trying to find his way around. He does right now. Going into turn 1, Tizonic is up into P7. We're going to go back on board with John and Craven battling for the last lap. Money Hustard pretty much has this race locked up at this point, as Tizonic also passes Facitas for P7. Hopefully Facitas isn't having too much trouble as we see the fireworks going off there. Craven and John are going to work their way around the last turn as Money Hustard wins the Mexican Grand Prix for Division 2. Craven's going to come in 3rd as a result of penalties, I guess, as he stuffs it. Ronan passes DGM at the line. Ronan picks up a 5-second time penalty for an unserved penalty, as Facitas and Mitch are now battling. Facitas unfortunately falls 2 positions in the last lap. Almost loses control of his car there. Looks like those soft tires have just absolutely no life left in them, as unfortunately Facitas falls back to 9th place before the stadium section. But we will have to keep our eyes on the scoreboard to see where everybody finishes after all of those penalties. Tizonic crosses the line in P7, Mitch in P8, and Facitas in 9th. Jules finishes the race in the points in P10. What a drive. Look at this man. As he definitely tried to yeet it into that Renault there across the line. And that was a fantastic race from our Division 2 drivers. Very clean for the most part. Brilliant first 5 laps. Stick around with us. We will get the post-race interviews going in just a moment. And we will do them real quick, like as we have Tier 1 starting in just a few moments. As, where's Xbox? There it is. As Money Hustard is your race winner. Followed by John and Praven Magic. Fortunately, White Meat and Coach are early retirees. And everybody in the field finishing with at least one 3-second penalty. As we will see if any of our drivers are kind enough to join us in the commentary booth. Again, a quick reminder of our schedule. If you're interested in joining the league, please head on over to our Discord. As we may not have any post-race interviews going tonight, I may just start up the Tier 1 stream in just 5 minutes. Stick with the channel, give us a refresh in just a few, and we will be right back. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a great night.